Bro Show.
And when we say good morning, we mean magandang umaga sa'yo, Katega, Kabayan, Ka-Isla. Welcome to the Bro Show, where we talk about everything and anything and try to make sense of what's happening. This is your professional barkada. Magandang umaga. This is your DJ Doods, your true Manila man. And our Bro Show is always being brought to us by Jack in the Box. Hey, wake up right, wake up happy, wake up busog sa Jack in the Box. And it's never been a good time to be indecisive because you can order Jack's 100% all white meat popcorn chicken in either classic or spicy. And if you cannot decide, no problem. Walang problema. You can get half classic or half spicy chicken. So go ahead, make a great indecision. The 50-50 popcorn chicken, 100% ang sarap. Only at Jack in the Box because Jack knows what you want. You crave it, Jack in the Box will definitely serve it. Ang ating Bro Show, hatid din sa atin ng Evian Natural Spring Water. Water the way nature intended. Ng Godfather Shoes, uniquely handcrafted, especially made just for you. And the Medical City, where patients are partners. For your next medical travel to the Philippines, call 988-8627 and look for Ate Raquel. The Medical City. Choose Philippines. Choose the Medical City. Once again, good morning to you, Bro Nation. To complete our Bro Force, of course, we are with the Bros, starting with the Universal Remote Control, the Professor Matt Lester. But Prof, good morning to you.
Good morning, DJs. That's a new one. I don't know how to react. Universal remote. Like, do I control people's lives? But I guess we control them in a sense because we dictate their mood on a beautiful Friday. We have a very special guest again. Very extra special Friday for us here at Bro Show. So magandang umaga. Let's get started, DJ Doods.
All right, and to complete our triangle, we got the coldest toaster in the house, the wired man, Mr. Bojo Molina. Boj, good morning to you.
Good morning, dudes. Good morning, Prof. Hot and cold. Yan ang aking feeling right now kasi I'm so cold dahil talaga namang sarap na sarap ako. Parang I'm sleeping in my bed because of this guy right now. I hear his voice in the morning and very hot dahil very much excited. And one thing I could say, dudes, in the history or in Radio Guam, radio will be mentioned, cannot be complete without mentioning his name. That's what I'm gonna. There you go. That's how I see this guy, a good friend, a par, someone, an idol, an icon already here on Guam, giving icons to icons, the icon of icons for myself for radio. Dudes, let's do this already. I'm speechless. I don't have words, pero I keep on talking, di ba?
I totally agree, Tito Boj. I agree. Definitely. Our episode is of biblical proportion. I'm really excited. Such a good person. I mean, one of the pillars of our radio industry here on our island, the master of ceremonies, the master blender, one and only, Mr. Kyle Mandapat.
Wow! Good morning! I haven't heard that much fanfare from me since I left the house this morning and my family was so glad. Thank you for having me.
Kuya Kyle, how are you? We are so happy to have you in the show. Kamusta si Kuya Kyle?
I'm doing so good. It's a beautiful, beautiful Friday. It's about to get even more beautiful thanks to you, gentlemen. Thank you again for having me. I've been a big fan of the Bro Show, and now I get to add this to my resume. I'm putting it on everything.
We're big fans, and we're missing you, okay? Although, of course, we are still in strong communication with you. We are really missing you. Kuya Kyle, again, thank you so much for being in our show. Hey, we're just starting, okay? We're just starting. We do have this fast talk, okay? I'm going to pass the microphone to our professor. We're going to scrutinize, okay? We're going to investigate the life of Mr. Kyle Mandapat. Professor, go ahead, take it away. Let's blend this.
All right. Thank you. First of all, thank you for guesting in our show. It's really a big honor. So think of it like this is like a psychological test, no? Like first thing that comes out of your head. Don't worry. I mean, you can be as candid as you can. All right.
Okay.
Okay. Right. First question: Marvel character that you want to be when you wake up.
I'm already Thor, so I don't have to worry about that. My wife always like watches the TV or the movie, and she's just like, "Is that you or is that Thor? Is that you or is that Thor?" So it's very confusing for a lot of people. Marvel character, professor to professor, I would go with Professor X. I would have to. I mean, he's got wheels. He's got good brain power. He looks like the chicks are totally like, ready to do whatever he says, even if he's forcing them mentally. I think he's got a lot of mind power in that one.
It's probably the universal remote control that we're talking about.
Oh yeah, Kyle. Yes, I agree with you, Thor. I mean, the hair itself is a giveaway.
I'm telling you. This is a wig I'm wearing right now. So if I take this down, then everyone's going to be blown away. I have to make sure I maintain this,
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Kyle. Second question. Who would you rather meet? Freddie Mercury or Freddy Krueger?
Ooh, that's so hard. Probably Freddie Mercury. Probably because I've never karaoke to a Freddy Krueger song before.
I would love to hear a Freddy Krueger song. But yeah, great choice. All right. Talking about karaoke, what's your go-to karaoke song?
Wow, there's so many, right? There's so many. My go-to karaoke song is probably "I Who Have Nothing" by Tom Jones. That's the one. In the end, you hold that down, and people are just like, "Wow!" That's my Filipino card for a lot of people. They don't believe that I'm half Filipino until I get out there and belt that one out, and then no more questions afterwards.
Signature move.
Yeah.
Classic song. I thought you were gonna say "My Way," like one classic Filipino karaoke song. Also,
it really goes between that one and "Don't Ya" by the Pussycat Dolls. So I'm gonna go ahead and maintain my masculinity here on the Bro Show. I will go with the first one. Yep.
All right. Next question: animal or insect that scares the living daylight out of you?
That one's tough too. I don't know because I eat a lot. So animals don't really scare me. Animals, they give you the look and I give them the look back. Like, bite me. I'll bite you back. Insects, probably, something small that can like kill me, what's that Black Widow spider? Not the Scarlett Johansson, she doesn't scare me at all. But like a Black Widow spider, can be inside your shoe, I hear. So that kind of freaks me out. That's why I'm not moving.
That's scary.
You don't got that here.
I love the staring competition against insects.
Right? It's like that.
Yeah. You don't mess with a Kyle Mandapat.
All right. We have a GOAT question here. So you can actually, there are probably like two answers here. But who for you is the greatest radio DJ of all time?
Oh, this is so hard too. I think everybody's so good at so many different things. I was just telling Doods, he's so positive. It's definitely a great way to start the morning. Not very many people can do that. So I think you're the GOAT for that one. Kuya Bojo, of course, his energy is amazing. And I told this to him too. Everything I'm saying now, I've said it before. So I think that there's just so many great profiles. And I think that's kind of something that I kind of incorporate right into my view of everything, including food for that matter, is everything's good for something. And I think that there's so many great and talented people here that I've had the honor to work with. So yes, even you, Prof, you're so good at office design and glasses wearing. You see,
picking furniture, yeah.
Yeah, you're a as well.
Thank you.
I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that.
That's my senatorial answer too, huh? So that
Yeah. I'll vote for Kyle Mandapat in any position, in any or for any position. Kuya Kyle, thank you so much because you have mentioned that you are half Filipino. I remember one of your radio episodes, you were discussing one of your funny stories. This was way before we have television or we have screens in our vans, in our cars. Mm-hmm. This was the time before iPad, cell phones. We can watch YouTube, we can watch Netflix in our cell phones now. But because you want to have, or your family wanted to have an entertainment system inside your car, you did was to put an actual TV.
We did.
And then can you tell us more about that? That was really funny. I remember that. I was listening to you.
That was one of the few stories where after I told it on the air, that was the one where my phone blew up because my family was like, "Why are you telling people that story? Don't tell them that." Oh my God. They really let me get away with so much over the years. I've told everything that I shouldn't have told, but that was definitely one that got their attention. But yeah, I mean, there's so much now. And by the way, dudes, YouTube, phones, all the digital devices, nowadays we call those babysitters. So just, that rounds it up. But back in those days, there wasn't anything like that. So we actually took the TV and put it in the car just to make sure that we could. And I think that we kind of reused that idea too with like typhoons and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And Bojo can attest, right? When the kids are crazy, everyone's crazy. Happy wife, happy life, and crazy kids.
Exactly.
Crazy day. So definitely that would serve this purpose for sure.
Yeah, I remember that story. Really funny, and I really like how you put it. Babysitter, okay? If they are, throwing some tantrums, here's a video that you can watch, okay? And then they will behave. Bojo, you do have a lot of questions for our super fan, super pari. Kuya Kyle, go ahead, Boj.
Yes, definitely. Kyle is not new on. People knows what happened because every morning we listen to him. But right now, since we're gonna go present time, since we're almost out of this pandemic, we're almost getting out of it. People are having vaccines, going out. They've declared that we don't have to wear masks, but we have to here on Guam. But it's okay. What are the things that you hobbies or interests that you've developed during the time of the pandemic until now that you're doing it and you're, I would say, the goat of it. You're really doing good aside from the radio stuff, outside things that you're doing.
Probably buying bigger shirts. I realized that during the pandemic, I had to start unbuttoning the bottom buttons of my shirt when I'm sitting down because it's constricting, right? So now I've decided to master the art of buying bigger shirts. Other than that, I mean, I kind of went back to some of my older hobbies because there was so much time, right? You and me and Doods, you too, Pro, I'm sure you were out there as well. Before the pandemic, things just got so busy. And I feel like, we were always doing something, always working, always having our hands or our brains in something. And for me, the pandemic was just that big, like, pause button, you know what I mean? Like, just wait, take care of some other stuff. So I got a chance to kind of go back into some of the things. A lot of it involves my kids. I'm that sappy guy. I love just spending time with my family and my children and having the opportunity to do just, stuff that I didn't have the time, to do before the pandemic was like, cooking together, finger painting on the walls, getting yelled at for finger painting on the walls. And that's just me. That didn't include my kids. But, stuff like that.
And the question is, whose walls?
Yeah. For the safety of my family and the lease agreement, I will not respond to that question. But no, I feel like that was it for me. There's just so many good things I was able to do, I guess, and that's why, it's about, I guess, using your time wisely. And I think I've mastered that art too. That and buying big shirts, like I said.
Kuya Kyle, I guess we do have this, understanding being in the radio industry, particularly here in our island. But when did you realize that you want to be a radio broadcaster? I mean, because it doesn't happen in a whim, right? Sometimes we feel that, okay, I can do this. I want to do this. When did you realize that?
Well, I had a small pace, right? So before I started doing a regular gig, I had another radio, a foray into radio on another station, but the music format was very different. Like it was very like a dentist music, right? So elevator, dentist music. So I still love that music. Bojo knows, right? I tell it to my heart, right? I'm all about it. And so for me, I left that and I was doing some other stuff. And then slowly but surely, I found myself kind of trying to inch back in and see what was available. And I think it's just the connection, So for me, it was probably, I didn't realize that being on the radio was a dream job until I was already there for a while. And I realized one day I woke up, I said, you know what? I get to go to work. I get to have a good time. I get to connect with people. And at the same time, I have some kind of effect on how people's day or our lives are going to go. And you don't realize that while you're doing it, right? I mean, we've all been doing this for a minute. You don't realize it until you're someplace and somebody says something, like, oh man, my mom loves to listen to you. She never smiles until we have like, wow, stop. Mm-hmm. So those are the things that turned it into a dream job for me because it wasn't the pay, right, Bojo?
Right. And of course, the whole island knows that you are one of the best MCs, event host in the entire region, not just here on our island. Is there any, influence? Is there any inspiration when you do your hosting, gigs?
Oh my goodness. For me, hosting is more like the first, that's the chicken before the egg for me, right? Because I started in stand-up comedy. That was my first foray before the microphone, right? Behind the microphone. And so I was doing stand-up comedy. And then from there, it led to TV. And then from there, it led to radio. But I've always felt so comfortable on the microphone, on a stage. And I don't know. I grew up here in Guam with such a great family upbringing, and we can all attest to that, right? The end of the party is not the end of the party; it's the beginning of the family party. So all those nights together, my dad and my uncles and everybody just sitting around, my ninang, my family, just telling jokes, laughing to each other. I feel like that's really what prepped me, right? So my family inspires me, and I steal a lot of their stuff, and I always tell them. My dad always goes, "Where's my royalty check?" No, Dad, you don't get that. But there's just so much from real life, I guess, and from the people around me that I'm able to kind of draw from, and so that's pretty inspirational for me.
That's Kuya Kyle, master of all trades, TV personality, radio personality, such a great host, and a whole lot more. Professor, you do have a question? Go ahead.
I do, and I was just surprised to find out that you did the stand-up comedy. Did you ever remember the first stand-up show you did? How was it?
It was so nerve-wracking. It was nerve-wracking. It was my first show, and it was my best show, if I can say that. It was for children's cancer. We were doing a fundraiser. It was at one of the biggest clubs here on the island, and they sold it out, and there was big corporate sponsorship. And they brought me in kind of on a whim. I was bagging groceries before, right? That was my thing. I was bagging groceries. I was still in college. And one of the regular customers in the store, me, I'm always taka, 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 taka. So he asked me, "You ever try stand-up comedy?" My uncle Ralph Rivera, and he said, "You ever try stand-up comedy or think about it?" And I'm like, "No, nobody ever pays me to mouth off. I'm just doing this for free over here." And so my wife was pregnant. So I was like, I could use some diaper money. Let me try this out. And so I ended up moving forward, and I did that first show. Like I said, it was totally off whim. I think the person who was going to do it beforehand wasn't able to come through. So it was a really, really short time. I said a curse word on stage, and then I lost it because my grandma was right there. So I was apologizing for a couple minutes afterwards. But just the reaction of the crowd and drawing on it definitely made it memorable. And I was wearing a pleather suit. So I was sweaty afterward. It was my first time up. So I thought, oh man, I better suit up. And so I did. I was skinnier at the time. Maybe that's why, because I was wearing pleather all the time.
I can imagine the reaction of your grandmother. What did you say, boy?
Yeah, exactly.
Bojo, go ahead.
Well, since we're talking about your experiences on hosting, or I could put everything: hosting, interviewing people on air, or actually stand-up comedy. Is there any situation that it went off track? I don't know. Something happened off guard, and how were you able to save that hosting or that interview on radio, or I don't know, just share whatever you have, that because we have a lot of those, and I know you have tons of those things.
Oh my goodness, I have so many. I two stick out of my brain, because if it was me that this happened to, I would be like, So the first one I always remember, and it was for me hosting, right? Because when I'm hosting, I have so much fun, and sometimes things fly out of my mouth. I don't even realize they're flying out of my mouth. And so the first one I remember, I was hosting a corporate event, and I think I had them doing like a dance contest or something like that. It was at one of our malls, one of our shopping centers, and it was just a bunch of ladies, and I had them doing a dance contest. And one lady was really going to town, Bojo. I'm telling you, like a slinky, right, dudes? And it was everywhere. And I was like, no. I said, be careful, the baby. And she was like, I'm not pregnant. Right? That's number one. That is like the ultimate. But, she was so sweet, and everybody was there. She was laughing. She said, I'm not pregnant. And then she goes, yet. And I was like, oh, yet. Okay. All right. The theme of the evening was ladies' night. I said, it's going to be ladies' night for her. She said, not yet. So she was a good sport. That was the first one. And then the other one, I don't know if I've ever shared this on air before, but one time I was hosting a giveaway. And it was, a lot of people there, very, very good attendance. And I called for somebody, right? Come up. Come over. First person with a baby, you know? And somebody ran down with a baby, which I've learned over the years I should not do because you shouldn't run with a baby. He ran up with a baby. It was her and it was somebody else, a gentleman with her. And, you know, just off the top of my head again, I'm like, wow, this is awesome. They want to win together. And so I said, here you go. So I have all these prizes. I said, one prize for mommy, one prize for baby, one prize for daddy. And the mom goes, he's not the daddy. But I was like, you know, the baby looked just like him. Wow. Okay.
Oh.
Thank you. Woo, here's some more prizes. I just kept giving prizes. I think I gave her like 6 or 7 prizes.
Yeah, you sort things out in yourself, right?
But I've been lucky enough.
I love the first story. Hey, be careful with the baby. I'm not pregnant yet. No, I'm not pertaining, to a baby. You are my baby.
There you go. See, that your brain's already going in that direction. You know how to transition out of it.
I'm sorry, Kuya Kyle, I cannot relate because Bojo asked if you have that one experience that, a little derailed. I cannot relate because all my gigs were messed up.
You got a good average.
So yeah, that's my normal, right? Professor, go ahead. I know you have loaded questions. Go.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, whenever you host a show, whenever you host your program, is there any routine that you follow? Like your health routine or a gig routine that you follow to prepare for a show?
It's gotten easier for me over the years, right? So in the beginning, I was so nervous that I would like clear my whole day beforehand. So I wouldn't do anything else. Like literally, I would like take off from work. I would do whatever I need to. But now it's just so fun. It's so natural. And I think it's because I'm so comfortable, in my skin now. You know, everybody's got that transition period where you kind of trying to gauge where you can go, where you can't go. But for me, I'm nervous, a lot. And I try to eat, I guess, is the big thing, right? Because especially once something starts, it's hard to kind of step away, especially if it's a busy function or affair. So yeah, I think maybe eating and drinking, at least 1 or 2 Diet Cokes to start me off, I think is the direction I go in terms of pre-game rituals, right?
Yeah. Sugar is really important.
Right? And I do this
energy.
exercise where I practice sucking in my stomach. So all the pictures, I can that's a big part of it too.
Macho, right? Macho. Kuya Bojo, go ahead.
Okay, so I know you're out of the morning radio right now, but if things comes, you come back to these things. So if you still have a chance to come back and you're doing it again, do you still have your dream interview to interview a personality, your go interview that you want to?
Oh, yes. And I know already that if I ever did get a chance to interview, I would probably like totally gush and be floored, fangirled out, right? Dream interview, the Nature Boy Ric Flair.
Oh.
Over. It's
Yeah.
I would be moving my life all around the place.
Yeah.
You would need the defibrillator party to, bring me back. Salt. You have to put salt and Ajinomoto under my nose.
Come back to us.
Yeah, Ric Flair is just fun. I mean, all things aside, I know he's got personal stories to tell throughout the years, but for somebody to be able to, like I said, it comes down to comfort for me, right? And I think that's one of the most inspiring things. I mean, he just fought back from death. He almost died, guys, right? And so now to see him a couple years later and he's still doing all those things he does and still supporting all those charities and stuff, I think it's awesome.
Ric Flair, the Nature Boy. Yes, Bojo, sorry, go.
Kyle is a very big wrestling fan, actually. He watches.
We are all
Yeah.
pro wrestling fans.
Really?
Yes. To be the man, you have to beat the man. That's Ric Flair. Wow.
As big a fan as me, I spent all 3rd grade wearing spandex. I don't know.
Oh, I tap out right away.
Spandex and cowboy boots. Far.
There you go. And hat.
And that robe from Ric Flair, that robe. Kuya Kyle, okay, we all know that the morning, I'm not elevating our time slot, okay? But of course, the morning is one of the hardest slots in radio. Not just because of anything, because it's really hard to wake up very early in the morning. That's the only reason. But do you have any, any pre-show routine? You said that you have to drink Diet Coke, but that is for your gigs, for your hosting. How about for your radio show?
I think like you said, you hit it on the head, right? That's the hardest part, is waking up. That is the hardest part. And so before any radio show, I talk to myself like a lot. Like between the drive home or between the drive from home to the studio, wherever it is that I'm doing something, dude, I'm talking to myself, because nothing's worse than getting ready to go on the air for the first time and you pop the microphone and all of a sudden your voice is, hello, and you're like, and you got to clear your voice, So for me, I warmed up that way, talking to myself. If I had any friends or family who were off island, I would call them because they'd be awake, so I could just kind of warm up the vocal cords. Or I would, like I said, karaoke, right? I would just karaoke in my car or in the parking garage, wherever I could, just to kind of warm up.
Warm up is really important. Kuya Kyle, is there any, one particular, episode of your radio show, that is the ultimate memorable, that you will really cherish?
There's so many, right? I mean, the first time I came on, it was so much fun. It was my first time on radio, and at the time I was with my friend Kai Pinay and Frankie Perez, and they were talking and bantering, and then they looked at me, and I swear all I could say was, yes. I was so proud of myself. Huh? I was like, wow, I was on the radio. Hey, did you hear me? Did you hear me? Yes. So that was memorable for that. But there have been so many things, like the day Michael Jackson died. That's another one that was big for me.